everyone, welcome to the Northland Artists Conversation. My name is Mark Kelly. I am your wonderful host and guide on these incredible podcasts where we discover really interesting artists throughout the Northland region. Normally across from me would be my co-host Andrew McKenzie. Andrew is currently assuming producer duties tonight, so he is behind the screens, making sure everything looks good, making sure I look good, sound like $1 million. So I do very much appreciate that. It's good to have you back on deck as well. And also, again, another shout out to Rocky Steventon for holding down the fort for the last couple of months. Man, doesn't go unnoticed. And I'd also like to shout out to Marino Begman and Catherine Tasker, who look after a lot of the back end stuff. You guys make it all look and flow amazingly. So thank you very much. Today's guest, wow, I don't even know where to start. The Aaron Kerr. We'll start there. Aaron Kerr's his name, and he is part of Northland Horror, and he's a big dude. I'm 6'2", and normally I'm quite big, but Aaron is 6'7", and yeah, you know, big guy, but such a cool guy. You know, sitting down and talking with him, discovering about sort of his journey, having to step into, I guess, a parental role when he was like 17 and look after his younger sister. Talking about his love of horror movies, and, you know, what his gateway horror movies were, all the way through to talking about what's coming up with Northland Horror as well, because Northland Horror are putting on an absolutely amazing fundraising event. It's called A Hearty Halloween. If you want to know more about it, go through to the podcast. Some really interesting stuff that we learn along the way about Aaron. Man, the dude had some cool stories, some great stories, talking about ghosts in Dunedin prison, like the old shutdown one. Holy crap. They were scary as shit and absolutely amazing. But just some of the stories that come out about him, how he got into being essentially a character actor, where he, he puts on a costume and puts on a mask and becomes the character. How he started off and then how he kind of got involved. So, I tell you what, let's get into this one. Without further ado, let's sit down and have a conversation with Aaron Kerr. As I said inside, there's no real starting point, but Aaron Kerr. Thank you very much for joining me in the Five Elements Media Studio for the Northland Artists Conversation. This is very cool and a nice surprise, so thank you for coming in.
Oh, you're welcome.
It's, I think for me, we're going to have a lot of fun. You like horror.
Yep.
My life's been horrific. No, it's not. I like horror as well. So we're going to, I think this conversation for me is going to be really interesting, and I have no idea where we're going to go. So, I'll see you on the other side. I guess the first thing I want to sort of talk about is, because now there's obviously a key age where you got into horror, right?
Yep.
Which was in your teens?
Yeah, probably late teens.
I was very much the same. 15 years old. My next door neighbour, who was my best mate, was 18, so I was able to whip down to the video store and grab all the R18 horrors that I shouldn't be watching. But what were your interests before that?
So for me, it was playing sport.
Okay. Okay.
So, I was out 2 to 3 days a week playing sport.
Any sort of sports in particular?
So I was playing badminton and cricket.
Nice.
Got up to rep level here in Northland
for
cricket.
Well done. How very cool.
So yeah, I succeeded pretty well on that. Badminton was always a social thing,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
something extra. Other than that, it was just sort of hanging out with mates and helping the parents with their business, really.
Yeah. Now, in the pre-interview questionnaire that we send everyone, any of the guests that come on, there was something really interesting that I read. You ended up looking after... Now, I've got to make sure I get this right. You ended up looking after your house and your sister. Is that right?
Yeah, so when my parents split up, went separate ways, Mum moved away, Dad was still there, and we lived like that for a while, and then Dad decided he was going to move away as well.
So it was
And I was about the age of 17, I think.
17.
Yep.
With a house to yourself. Well, and your sister, but
Yep.
yeah.
Not long, not long finished school.
Wow.
So, sister was still in high school, so I grew up pretty quick.
Yeah, I could imagine. How old was your sister?
So she would have been 14, 15.
Oh, wow. Okay, so sort of 2-3 years younger than you.
Yeah.
Right, okay. And how fast was that learning curve for you?
Pretty quick.
Yeah?
You kind of learn how far money stretches, or it doesn't stretch.
Yep. Well, now, did you go out and just go, I got to earn?
I already had a job.
Okay.
I was just working at a service station. But I was, so I was working there. My sister was still at school, but then she found a part-time job.
Nice. Yep.
And then we managed to get a whole lot of mates together over time to pretty much come flatting.
So, Party Central?
Yeah, there was one night a week that everyone was home.
One night a week.
One night a week, everyone was home. So,
Yeah.
it was a good chance for everyone to catch up. And, okay, it was during the week, but hey,
Yeah.
why not?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're young once.
Well, that's it.
Okay, so from there you kind of you kind of grow up quite quickly. Is this around the same time you discover horror?
No, I probably discovered horror before then.
Okay. What was your gateway drug?
The one that got me hooked in
I mean drugs as in like watching horror, not actual drugs.
Yeah.
My God. Got to be careful nowadays.
Yes, very, very. So one of the movies that got me hooked in was the modern take on 13 Ghosts.
Oh, the one with the glass house.
Yes.
Man, that's cool. Matthew Lillard, F. Murray Abraham, Shannon Elizabeth, and a bunch of people I don't care about that all died very grisly deaths.
Yep.
But some very cool concept ghosts and monsters in there.
Yep.
So that was really the first one.
That was probably one of the big ones that hooked me in.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And then where did you sort of go to from that point onwards?
I don't know. I just started watching a bit of all sorts.
Okay.
Whether it was some of the old school to more modern ones that were just coming out and that sort of thing. You go from there, and then the Saw movie started coming out. And
what was your reaction when you saw Saw 1 for the first time? Because I remember mine like the back of my hand.
Probably wasn't overly shocked.
Really?
Yeah, like it was
it.
like it was interesting to watch.
Yeah.
Like in the sort of how they created each sort of scene in that.
Yeah.
Sort of get you thinking. And I quite enjoy those movies that you don't know what's coming next.
Yeah.
When you can sit there and predict it, you kind of get bored and
Yeah, you see the plot twist coming a mile away.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember. So I was I was living in Gisborne with my ex-wife. I was running Dick Smith, and I worked at Blockbuster like 2 days a week. Well, Thursday night and Saturday from like 12 until close. And we would always have the pre-release DVDs, and the staff would watch them, and then they'd write down recommendations, and the manager would go, how many of these should I get, and stuff like that. And I remember taking that one home, and no one had watched it, because on there it had Saw, and then it had like a cut off foot.
Yep.
And everyone was like, "No, that's a pass from me." And I was like, "Well, I like horror. Yeah, I'll sit home." So I remember it was a Thursday night. I got home about 10 o'clock at night and sat down and watched Saw 1. And it was dark, and the ex-wife had gone to bed, so it was just me on my own. And I sat there, and then the scene right at the very end where Jigsaw gets up,
Yep.
I remember actually lurching back in my chair and going, "What the fuck?" And just nutting out hardcore because I hadn't seen it coming. Woke up my ex-wife, who was like, "What's happened? What's happened?" I was like, "Oh, I was filmed. It was amazing." And then the guy gets up at the end. And she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to watch it." So she watched it with me. I watched it twice in one night.
Yep.
Went back to the manager and said, "You're gonna need to get a lot of this film because this shit's gonna be popular," and it was, which was cool. Okay, so wow, that's your Saw experience. Interesting. And we're going to need to backtrack a little bit because I know Saw was a few years. Oh, it was only a year or so later after 13 Ghosts, wasn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't very long at all.
Working at the petrol station.
Yep.
Doing 40 hours? Are you doing the odd shifts? Are you doing or are you doing the graveyard or like the 6 till 3? I used to work at a petrol station. I used to run one, so.
Yeah, so I was doing main shifts were either from 7 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon, or do 3 in the afternoon till 11 at night.
Okay. Never the graveyard? Or did they not do a graveyard?
No, they did a graveyard, so it was over at Tiki Mobile. So they were
Tiki Mobile.
Yeah, so they were graveyard shifts.
Right.
Yep.
Where is Tiki Mobile?
Just by the high school, on the corner of
Oh,
Kirapeka Road. And,
right. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, far out there. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I obviously working in a petrol station, you do see some interesting things.
Yeah.
Do you have any interesting stories that you can remember from that time that have kind of stuck with you that you're like, man, so there was this one time?
No, well, apart from the guy that I met who was actually taller than me, made me feel small.
Okay, so now that's interesting. People aren't going to see this on camera.
No, exactly.
I'm 6'2", and normally the tallest guy in the room. Now you make me feel like I make a lot of other people feel. How tall are you?
So I'm 6'7".
6'7".
Yeah.
Holy shit. Okay.
Yeah, and this guy made me feel short.
Wow.
Yeah, so he would have been probably well over 7 foot.
Wow.
Yeah, it was that bad that he actually had to bend under the cigarette cabinet to talk to me.
Oh, because they
used to be up above.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I forgot all about that. Wow.
Yeah.
So he would duck.
Yeah, so he would have to lean down like this.
Yeah.
So he could get eye contact.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Was he a local of Whangarei or?
I've seen him a few times.
Mm-hmm.
So he had to be local or either that or he was up for a holiday regularly or something. But yeah.
Far out. Yeah, not many. I don't know if I've ever met a person over 7 foot.
No. I didn't know him personally, but yeah.
Well, that'd be a hell of an experience.
Yeah. Like, I've got a good mate. He's probably 6'9" to 6'10".
6'9".
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, that's crazy. So you're at the service station. How long are you there for?
Probably a couple of years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where do we sort of go from there?
So from there, I sort of tried to broaden my horizons.
Went to university?
No, that was one thing I've never done.
Really?
So I went to high school, finished high school, and thought, no, I'll take a year off.
Gap year?
Just to let the mind relax.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been...
The mind relaxed.
21 years later, you know.
Well, I mean, and in that gap year, you also have to become a parental figure as well.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, university isn't, I guess, not necessarily on the cards for you at that point in time.
No, it kind of almost went out the window.
How long did you sort of raise your sister?
Well, she ended up, I think she got through 5th form, and then she that was it for her.
Right, okay.
And then, yeah, she ended up going off and working in the kitchen, sort of becoming a chef, and
Nice.
quite very good at it too, yeah.
She's still a chef at the moment?
No, she's in Christchurch, and she works. They have an app or some sort of plan down there that have jobs. People put these jobs up.
Yeah.
You can apply for the job. It might be a day's work. It might be 3 days' work.
Oh, so it's like seasonal type work stuff?
Well, it can be anything.
Okay.
It can be working at a gig. It could be helping in a kitchen. It could be helping an old folks' home. Yeah, it could just be anything. And you can. It works for her. When she told me about it, I was quite blown away.
Yeah, it sounds really interesting.
So you can pick and choose depending on the hours. So for her, she's got 3 kids at home.
Okay.
And her husband's a cop, so that's shift work and trying to
yeah.
work in and around all that stuff.
Yeah, man.
No, I'm surprised it hasn't been thought of earlier.
That's a great idea. I know there's a massive labour shortage at the moment. I read an article in the New Zealand Herald where the head of hospitality in New Zealand is saying, "Look, we're short-staffed. If you want to come and eat, that's great, but don't expect super quick service."
Yeah.
Because everyone's sort of screaming out for staff at the moment. Actually, our guest last night, Sean McDonnell. Shout out to Sean. He is a tour guide for 5 months of the year, and he gets to travel all around New Zealand.
Yep. Nice.
That's a pretty cool job. Definitely different. So, where did you go? Like, you do your 2 years at your service station.
Yep.
And you decide you want to go out and sort of branch out and do. Where do you go?
So from there, I went and worked for Cook and Costello, which is a civil engineering firm.
Yes.
Because I thought that was the career path I was going to head down.
Okay. What were you doing there?
I was almost just a lackey. Pretty much do a couple of things on the computer, but I wasn't getting taught very much.
Yeah.
I kind of got bored real quick, and I thought, nah, I've had enough. So that didn't last long. It might have been 6 months or so.
Right.
My grandfather started going down with dementia.
Oh, that's hard.
Yeah, so that was quite hard. So I was like, no, I ended up going back to working with the service station. And then from there, I actually ended up going and working on my auntie and uncle's farm, which was just down the road from my grandfather. And I ended up living with my grandfather.
Yep.
And sort of helping out when I was at home and that away from the farm.
Okay. And just sort of, just like a general farmhand type thing? Was it
dairy farm.
Dairy farm.
Yeah.
Oh, so
split calving. So
Yep.
Cow shed never stopped.
Double milking.
Yeah.
Twice
a day.
Yeah. No, not for me.
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, it was.
Takes a certain type of person to be able to do that.
Yeah, it does. It's long hours, long days before you get a day off.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing.
How did you find it though?
I learnt a lot. Like when I finished there and I moved to the South Island, I had that background in me, and so I picked up going back farming down there as well.
Yeah.
So it was good to fall in. I had that experience, and it was interesting to see the different ways that each farm actually runs.
Oh, the different sort of styles they do things.
Just the way that they do things and how they're set up. And, and that. So each time that I went from one farm to another or something, it just sort of opened your eyes a bit more. And
yeah. Because I guess farming's kind of always been in the blood, right? You were born in Pukekohe, into a farming environment there, because Puke's very, very farming orientated.
Yeah, so my parents were farming at the time,
right?
From what I remember. But yeah, so when my grandfather came back from the war, he bought a farm and started milking cows. Now my uncle's taken it over.
That farm's still in the family?
Yep, still in the family.
Wow.
And now his boys, or one of his boys, is pretty much now running it.
That's amazing that it's still going, because, I mean, you hear of, farms going through really hard times and, farmers sort of selling off at a loss and stuff like that. So, I mean, the fact that the farm's still going, I mean, it's a generational thing. What, 3 generations now? Is that right?
Yeah. Yep.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, so from what my grandfather had, they've expanded.
Oh, wow.
So they ended up buying, what was it, 1, 2, I think 3 neighbouring farms.
Wow.
Managed to link it all together.
Yeah.
And now one of the boys, he is over in Brazil, and they've just finished building their second dairy farm in Brazil.
In Brazil?
Yep, and they've built it from scratch.
That's very cool. What a great place.
Mm.
What an amazing adventure as well.
Yeah. So it was, when I found that out, it was like, it's probably somewhere different, but...
Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't have thought that. Is it dairy over there as well?
Yeah, yep, dairy farm over there. So they brought the New Zealand ways to Brazil.
Okay.
It's obviously tried and proven here, so they tried over there. So they had a lot of hiccups setting up their first farm. Obviously.
I could imagine.
Yep.
Very different climate.
Yeah. So, but yeah, they got to the point where, they ended up building a second one.
Far out.
So, yeah, farming's definitely in the blood.
Well, it's in the family, right? It's kind of, it's in the genes.
Yeah, pretty much.
A fuel. Far out. Okay. Now, you mentioned you moved to the South Island.
Yep.
What sort of prompted that move?
So Mum got back in touch, slowly built confidence up and talking to me and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And my sister had moved down there.
Down to Christchurch?
Down to Timaru.
Timaru. Nice.
Yep. So that's where Mum ended up. My sister ended up moving down there as well. And, they said to me, why don't you come down?
Okay.
Try it out. If you don't like it, you can always move home.
Right. Okay.
So,
and this is the home.
And this is Whangarei's home. Yep.
Whangarei's home.
Yep. So, moved down there.
Mm-hmm.
And, 11 years later,
You were down there for 11 years?
11 years.
Holy shit.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And then I moved home.
Wow. What? I mean, 11 years. That's not like a short period of time.
No, exactly.
That's a decent whack. So what was the draw, apart from the the sunshine beaches and warmer climate?
Yeah.
What was the draw of coming back to Whangarei from Timaru?
I'd always classified Whangarei as home.
Okay.
But it was just trying to entice my wife to move up here.
I got married down there.
Yeah.
Way.
So she's South Island, born and bred.
Right.
So we actually come up for a holiday.
Yeah.
So I could show her around, took her up the Cape, come back down, stayed in Whangarei with some mates and that.
Yeah.
And she just loved it, and then within 12 months we'd moved up.
Wow, it was that quick.
Yeah.
Far out, because I mean that's no kids at this point though, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep, one kid. So she had 2 to a previous.
Okay.
And we ended up having one together.
Okay.
And so we brought our youngest up.
Yep.
On the holiday.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've ended up coming up. We came up with her daughter and our daughter.
Right.
Come up, and her son stayed with his father.
Oh, right. Okay. So he obviously just kind of decided he was a bit more of a daddy's boy.
Yeah, he decided that I want to go and live with Dad.
Right. Yep.
And that's
And then you're like, sweet, let's just throw everything in a truck.
Yeah, pretty much. We packed everything into a storage unit, packed what we needed into the back of my ute.
No.
And
really
drove up.
What was the drive like? Because that's a long ass drive, and you've got that ferry part in the middle as well. I mean, I've done Wellington to Auckland in a hit,
Yep.
and that's 10 hours.
Yeah, so we did. So we went up, stayed with Karen's sister in Nelson.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then from there we shot over and caught the ferry.
Yes.
Middle of the night.
Middle of the night.
Middle of the night, and it was pretty rough.
Right. Yep.
Karen's not a boat person. So
I'm not a boat person.
So she was nervous as anything.
Yeah.
And got over into Wellington and just drove. We stopped. Obviously, we'd done kids in the ute, but yeah, we stopped here and there for a break, and I think we got up here at about 8 o'clock at night. I think it was.
Wait, so you got the night ferry? Didn't stay the night in Wellington?
No.
You literally just dropped off and then just drove.
And drove.
Wow. Yeah. What time did you land? Can you remember what time you landed in Wellington?
Probably about 4 in the morning, I think it was.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's a 14-hour trip. Mm. And you obviously had a place up here all sorted.
So when we moved up here, we pulled the tent out of the ute and
awesome.
parked it up on my mate's front lawn. And we lived in that for 2.5 to 3 months.
Months?
Months.
Not days?
No, months.
Months.
From beginning of March.
Oh, until we get the cold, shitty part of winter.
Yeah, well, we still got the rain, we still got the cold. But hey, even that was good times, I'd found a job before I moved up, which was good.
Yep.
But yeah, mate would come home from work and we'll just sit out there and just catch up, enjoy the night, and then it was great.
Northland Artists Conversation is incredibly proud to support Rayburn House. Rayburn House is an art gallery located in the town basin in Whangarei. Rayburn House is the oldest house that's in the Whangarei city limits. Got converted into an art gallery, and it's an absolutely amazing space. They hold exhibitions all year round, and it's a lot of different stuff in there. So you might have like pottery one week or digital media another. You might have like mixed media. Lots of really, really cool exhibitions they have in there. They have these really fun opening nights as well that you can go to if you're invited, and it's where the artists kind of get to mingle with other people as well, and you really get to celebrate what's on presentation, what's on offer. They've also got a lovely little area as well where they have sort of different little bits and pieces that you can buy if you want to as well, and really support Rayburn House. So such a fantastic organisation. Northland Artists Conversation is incredibly proud to support Rayburn House. So you move back, you're in your tent, 3 months.
Yeah, it's about that long.
That's crazy, man. And obviously you're moving into the less warm time of the year as well. You're working, you've secured a job. Yep. Is wife working? Yep. She finds a job as well?
Yeah, so she managed to get a transfer.
Oh, for work, nice.
So she works for Idea Services, looking after IHC.
Right.
So
okay.
They have clients that live in the houses.
Yep.
And so she managed to get a transfer up here.
Cool. That's awesome.
As well. So did that. Eventually found a house.
Yes. Nice.
I think the reason we got the house was because we were living in a tent.
A rental?
Yeah, a rental. Yeah.
Right. And you thought you went for had you been going for houses at this point? Or you were like, yeah, if something nice comes up, maybe, but we're not too much a rush.
Yeah, we weren't overly rushed because we were welcome where we were.
Yeah.
But I was just trying to find, the right area.
Sure,
and,
yeah.
Kids in school, Sophia into daycare for a little bit before she started primary.
Yeah.
We ended up getting the place that we're in through friends.
Oh, nice.
So
cool.
So it was quite good. Yeah.
Okay. what's the job you go into? Because you've obviously been doing farming for 11 years, right?
No, so I kind of did farming off and on.
Right, okay,
So
right.
I was doing farming and aluminium joinery,
Okay,
and then sometimes both at the same time.
right, okay.
So I'd do joinery during the week, relief milking on the weekend.
On the weekend, yeah.
So I was working 7 days a week some weeks.
Yeah. Good lordy.
Yep.
So you move up joinery?
Yep. So
As well?
joinery up here.
Okay.
Yep.
With it, now, are you still joinery?
Yep.
Same company?
No, different company.
Different company.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's obviously kind of been your career of choice.
Yeah, well, I was looking to step up. I was either going to step up or step away. Probably 8 months ago.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
Wow, that recent.
Yeah, so I actually got offered a job, and so instead of just being a boy on the floor screwing stuff together, to actually move into a sort of starting management position of
Yeah.
a leading hand.
Team leader type thing.
Yeah,
We've got underlings.
Yeah, so pretty much I run the floor, the guys on the
Yeah.
floor, and do other bits and pieces.
Okay.
Yeah.
How has that transition been for you? Because it's obviously quite different from being one of the boys to being one of the bosses.
Yeah. No, it's been quite good because I've had the knowledge behind me to transition into it, knowing what needs to be done, when, and how.
Yeah.
And then doing the training with the guys on how things are supposed to be done as well.
Right.
And because I sort of went from Altherm over to Phoenix, back to Altherm, now back to Phoenix, to where I am now.
Which is
Phoenix,
Phoenix, right?
Yeah. So, I knew a few of the boys there, so they knew who I was, and they knew that I knew what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I already had that respect from a few of them. It was
Nice.
It was obviously a few new faces
Yeah.
that would obviously test the waters, so to say.
Yeah.
But they soon learnt that I know what I'm talking about, which is good.
Yeah. And you've obviously got that height intimidation factor as well.
Yeah,
Where
exactly.
you can, look down and be like, don't pull that shit.
Yeah, and big feet.
Yeah. Makes for a big ass kicking.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. So obviously that sort of covers your working career, right? And, I guess sort of where you are now in that team leader, lead hand position.
Yep.
Now, obviously, you have a very interesting creative endeavour, and it's going to be a bit of a first for the podcast, and that was, a big part of the reason why I wanted to get you on here is, earlier on we talk about horror, because obviously that's something that you're big into, but you have, I guess, an extra depth in relation to horror, because you don't just watch it.
Yeah, I actually do it.
You do it. Well, you don't do it. Do it, as in you don't go around stabbing people.
No.
Could you imagine that? And I'd like to welcome Whangarei's answer to Ted Bundy.
Yeah, that'll go down well.
Yeah, confessing on the podcast for the very first time, it's Whangarei's answer to Michael Myers. So you have a real interest in actual horror, but you don't just watch the stuff. You perform it. Is it a performance?
I suppose it is in a way.
Because essentially when... Because how you and I met is we met through Plunge Comic Book Convention, which is on every July, first week of the school holidays. And you always dress up as Michael Myers, a.k.a. The Shape, a.k.a. the scary guy from Halloween, a.k.a. Halloween Ends is screening tonight, which is the 12th of October on a release. And that's kind of how we met. And then we had the Plunge event this year where you had...
Your favourite friend.
Terry O'Callaghan. Now, bless her, I'm sure she is a lovely, lovely lady. And her character that she came as was...
Vella.
Fuck my life. Valak from The Conjuring 2 and also the movie The Nun. Now, she did an amazing job, and editor Andrew, please try and throw a picture of Terry with me from the video that we did. Because that for me, that's one of the best, most fun short interviews I've ever done. The reason I ask if it's a performance is because essentially you're having to become a character.
Yep.
And as you're becoming a character, you essentially take on the role of an actor.
Yep.
A, do you see yourself as an actor? And B, how do you get into the mindset of the character? Yay. A twofer.
Oh. Do I see myself as an actor? I suppose once I put the costume on,
Yeah.
I'm playing a part. I guess like an actor, you become that character.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have told me when I dress as Michael Myers, I do it that well that it does terrify a lot of people.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so being an actor, I suppose you could be.
Yeah.
Yep.
Possibly a character actor?
Yeah.
Which, you've got your... you sort of have your actors where, they embody a particular character, as we would kind of expect someone like Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio, all those sorts of guys. But then you've got character actors who aren't necessarily the main feature of anything, but they have a lot of character depth to them.
Yeah.
And even though someone like Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, it's not a dialogue-heavy character. No. So obviously you put the whole costume and the mask on. You're not going to wander around cracking inappropriate jokes while looking like you want to stab someone. Do you find that as soon as the mask... What is it? Is it the costume or the mask that is the transformation completion for you?
Probably put the mask on.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. You can put a pair of overalls on. You can be a dairy farmer. You can be the local mechanic. You can be whatever. As soon as you put that mask on, you become your character. That's it.
Yeah.
And then that's when, you start thinking like that character.
Oh.
So I've had people tell me that my whole walk changes.
Oh, really?
Like
we're not talking extremes. Like normally you skip down the fucking road.
No.
You'll have walk, but does it become like a bit more slow with purpose.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, because I don't know. I mean, I've seen you in the this year you were the Shape. Was it this year you were the Shape, or were you Jason this year?
At Plunge.
No,
so I was Michael Myers.
Myers.
Yeah.
And what were you last year?
So last year, no one figured out what we were, but my friend Kelly and I, we were slipped my mind, the two main actors of Conjuring, the Warrens.
Oh, in Lorraine. Right.
Yeah.
Didn't get it.
No one did.
But you bought Annabelle.
Yep.
That makes sense. Okay. Yeah, didn't get it.
Yep.
Didn't get it. Wow. Okay, that's Patrick Stewart and Vera Farmiga. Okay, wow. That's quite cool. Okay. Different. Very different.
So it was more almost kind of ourselves rather than putting on full makeup, masks and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Where this year, because managed to get a few more people on board
Yeah.
with us and helping us out with Northland Horror. We decided to go full out.
Terry O'Callaghan. What did Kelly come as? She came as Pennywise the dancing clown.
Yep.
That was cool. Quick question. In your opinion, the miniseries with Tim Curry or the Andy Muschietti 2-movie combo? Which is the best?
Haven't watched the miniseries yet. It's trying to find the time to do all this.
Oh, yeah, of course. Of course.
Yeah.
Okay. I watched the miniseries when it came out on TV.
Yeah.
And I thought Tim Curry was just amazing. So good. But I really did enjoy Bill Skarsgård's take as well. Super creepy, which I guess is how it should be, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Now you just mentioned before Northland Horror.
Yes.
Now, tell us about Northland Horror.
So Northland Horror started up. I kind of plucked it out of mid-air, really. When I moved up here, I took the kids to a Halloween event up at Heads Up.
Heads Up.
Which is the scooter, outdoor scooter.
Heading out towards Parua Bay, right?
Yep, that's the one.
That's the one. Just out past Onarahi. Yep.
So I took the kids up there because they were having a Halloween event, and we went through it. I got to the end and went, was that the best?
Right. When did the scares start?
Yeah, it's like, was that the best Whangarei has to offer?
Yeah.
I can do better.
Really?
Especially with the background I had of doing the charity work for Fair NZ in the South Island while I was there.
Wow, okay, yeah.
I thought, no, I can do better. I'm going to show Northland what a good scare is.
How do you find like-minded individuals? That's always fascinated me because, see, with editor Andrew and Rocky and Marino, who does all of the communications, and Kat Tasker, I knew Andrew, Marino, and Kat. Andrew obviously worked with Rocky, so we've all kind of known each other through like essentially 1 degree of separation. But how do you connect with, oh man, I like really gruesome horror shit too? It's not really, it's like, hi, nice to meet you. Yes, I like movies where people get stabbed.
Yeah.
How do you connect with like-minded individuals? Serialkillers.com.
Yeah, that's the one. There's so one of my best mates up here, Kelly, is his sister-in-law. So it's kind of like a family connection,
Right.
through everyone. So Kelly and Terry are sisters.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, and then we've just and then we've got another main person, Sarah. She dresses as Jason Voorhees.
Okay.
So yeah, and it's just at the moment our main core of people is pretty much kind of family, but we want to expand it a bit and bring in other outside people like-minded.
Yep.
As we grow.
Is there a prerequisite? Like, I mean, obviously you've got to like horror, right?
Yeah.
But is it like you must answer these 10 questions? What is, who was the original killer in Friday the 13th? No, it's just because you're on Facebook, right?
Yep. Northland Horror is on Facebook. Yep.
So people would just search
Northland
Horror and they'll stumble across it.
Yep.
And they can get in touch with you, via message or just sending something through Facebook?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
If they're keen to like help out at events that we're doing and those sorts of things. So yeah, more than happy to bring people on, and like we're all volunteers.
Yeah.
I don't make any money out of it.
Yeah.
So our events that we do for charity.
Nice. Now, you mentioned something before about, is it Fair NZ?
Yep.
What is Fair NZ? And for the love of me, how on earth do you get involved in something like that? So I can see how you get involved and create Northland Horror if you've done Fear NZ.
Yeah.
Because that's the gateway.
It pretty much was.
How the hell do you get involved in something like that?
So, Fear NZ is pretty much what inspired me to do Northland Horror up here.
Okay.
So they set up charity events in local towns. They're mainly based in the South Island, but they want to, obviously travel around all of New Zealand. So I got involved through Plunket. So when my daughter was born, the event that was being held was raising money for Plunket.
Okay. You said Plunket.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I went to Plunket. I think you and I probably had very different versions of Plunket, but that's okay. Right, so you met through Plunket, all right, for your youngest, right?
Yep.
Okay. And how did they just sort of turn up and go, hey, we do this stuff, we have these events, we'd like to throw money at you? How did it go?
So my wife became friends with one of the other mums.
Okay.
And she was a bit of an artist and that sort of thing. And pretty much I got asked if I'd be security. At the event. That's kind of how I started.
Okay, right.
So I was security for the first couple of nights, and then the following weekend, I was security up in a room, but I was in a trench coat, hiding in a corner with... Pretty sure I just had a sack mask on my head.
That doesn't seem like normal security. I know the guys at Allied, and that doesn't seem like regular security.
No. So what would happen is patrons would walk up the stairs, go into the room, it'd be pitch black.
Right.
But the reason they needed someone in security up there was because there were two young actors up there, and as soon as they come, the patrons come up, they looked around and it's like, oh, there's not much happening, and then all of a sudden the light show started, the girls come out, they scream, they carry on, and of course you have all the macho guys that just stand there and carry on.
Right.
I seen that happening, I got up out of the corner, I walked up to them. Of course they're busy looking at the actors.
Yeah. They don't expect
this 6'7"
behemoth
turn up,
yeah,
and pretty much yell leave at them. They turn around, crap themselves, see you later.
Oh my God. Wow. And so that was essentially your gateway.
That was pretty much, yeah. I had one of the guys that was doing the sort of technical side of it all.
Okay.
Come up to me and go, have you ever thought about being an actor for Fear NZ? And that's...
What's interesting, you say that word.
Yeah.
Yet you didn't think of yourself initially as that way, yet someone else called you that.
Yeah.
Okay. That's quite cool.
So going from that, next event was an Amaze Maze.
What's an Amaze Maze?
So
that's a maze in a field of maze?
Yep.
Okay, right.
Yep.
Yeah, it seems like it should be pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
We've had some instances here where shit that's been pretty self-explanatory kind of goes sideways quite fast. I think we found out what paper clay is from one of our former guests, and I was like, what's paper clay? And she goes, it's paper and clay. Yeah, right, thanks for that.
Yep.
All right, so an Amaze Maze. And what was your role in that?
So my role in that was...
Because you'd be taller than the maze.
Yep. Oh, no, I wasn't quite... not quite that tall. My role there... so I helped build like an entranceway to the maze.
Yeah.
And then went down and helped set it up.
Okay.
And I just said to Rory, who was running it, that says, look, if you want a hand, let me know, and I'll come down. And he goes, turn up, I'll find you something to do.
Nice.
So I turned up.
Yep.
I ended up being a scarecrow, standing up on a box, arms stretched out, and people would walk up in the dark, obviously with their torches.
Yeah.
I'd be standing there still as anything. Is that real? They get from probably not quite meter you away.
Okay, so a couple of meters.
Yep. And I'd then jump off the box.
Yeah.
Not expecting that in the dark. And the funniest thing I've seen was grown men, big macho guys,
Yeah.
grab their girlfriends, push them in,
I knew you were going to say
push
that.
them in the way so they can run. They're left screaming,
Of course.
going, "What are you doing?"
Of course. Well, I mean, it's like the old saying, women and children first.
It's yeah.
Oh, that would. How many of those events did you do with Therians then?
Oh,
Was it like a once a month thing, like
So-
once every 6 months, once a quarter?
so he probably tried to do. I think it was about 3 a year,
Oh wow!
depending on where they can find venues and that sort of thing.
Yeah,
But
because
yeah.
it's all just South Island though, right?
Yeah, so as far north as he got when I was there was Wellington.
Oh right, okay,
Yeah.
and mainly up the west coast.
Or
the East Coast, rather. East Coast, yeah,
Coast,
yeah.
yeah. So there was Timaru, Whangarei, which is where his farm was,
Okay,
and he did his maze.
yeah,
We did an event in Oamaru, so in the
Okay.
old part of Oamaru town.
yes, I know the old part of Whangarei.
Yeah, we shuttled that off and
Wow.
made it like a immersion style,
Oh my god, that would have been legendary.
so you could walk in and amongst all the actors and
Yeah,
if you're lucky enough, you got chased by the chainsaw running down the street.
brilliant.
Yep.
That's awesome.
The old Dunedin prison twice.
Wow, there'd be a weighty feeling when you walk in. Like, do you sort of do you get that sense of, shit happened here?
Oh, I know it
Yeah,
for a fact, and I know it's haunted for a fact.
right.
Yeah, definitely haunted. You're standing there, you hear knocks on doors, you open up the door, no one there.
Okay.
I explained it to someone who was sort of like security, but he was one of the Fair NZ crew. Come into the room, I knocked on the door beside me. I get this thud back on the other side. I know it's a little small room and it's locked. No one in it. That guy got up and walked off.
Yep. Can't say I blame him.
And it was happening, more than once.
And you had
During the
two
event.
events in there.
Yeah, so we did. So the events ran for 3 weekends.
Okay. Yep. Yep.
So yeah,
That's a decent chunk of time.
Yep. So I'd drive down from Timaru to Dunedin
Yeah.
to do it, and then so 2 years in a row there, in there. But then and then there was a warehouse event in Wellington.
Yep.
We had Polly Gillespie come through to do a bit of promo work,
Really, that would have been legendary.
and I was the first person she got to see as an actor as Michael Myers, and she didn't like it.
That was the last one that she saw. Yeah.
She went round. I took a shortcut back to the end, and she seen me again.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun, scaring. A personality, I suppose.
Yeah. So you're in the Dunedin prison, and then there's something strange in the neighbourhood, and then you're like, okay, this is just weird shit. And you obviously do you get to a point where you're like, I'm really over this crap?
When it keeps repeating
Right.
at you, and you know there's no one there. Yeah, it's like, would you bugger off?
Oh my god. Okay, so there was a question that I was thinking of as you were telling the story. Have you ever done spookers?
No,
Really?
never done it.
I thought that would have been like that'd have been like a bucket list, gold standard kind of thing to go and do.
Yeah, see, for me, I've always been on the prop building, acting, security, setup, pack down side of things. I have never gone through.
You've never been a victim.
Never been a victim through a major event.
Yeah.
I'd never even gone through a Fair and Z event.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So you haven't even, just never?
Never.
Never had the desire or the opportunity?
Well, for the Fair and Z event, Rory always had the theory of as if you can go through it, you can be in it.
Right. But you never went through it. So
But I never went through it.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. All right. So Fear NZ is the genesis of the idea for Northland Horror.
Yep.
And there's... How many of you are in Northland Horror at the moment?
We'd probably have... There's probably a dozen of us that are the core people, but we try and put feelers out for events. We'll put feelers out for people to come and help as well.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
It's just usually through people that we know.
Right.
That'll go, yeah, I'll come and help you.
Okay. So essentially like a core half dozen and then some kind of people that just sort of float in and out.
Yeah, pretty much, yep.
Nice. And you're hoping to grow that core?
Yep. Yeah, so obviously we'll have our base group, but have people that we can go, hey, right, event's coming up, and they'll go, yep, we'll be there.
Do you have, like with a lot of groups and stuff like that, you kind of have regular get-togethers and stuff like that? Is that something that you sort of do?
Yeah, so for us, like when we're planning an event or we've got an event coming up, we have probably once every couple of weeks.
Right, okay.
See how the progress goes on. So there's mainly myself, Kelly, and Sarah.
Okay.
We'll get together, and sometimes Terry as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we're kind of Sarah, Kelly, and myself would call ourselves the heads of it, and then Terry, she runs the subcommittee.
Right.
So we'll relay stuff to her that we want her to put out to everyone else to try and get the feedback. Right, we're all meeting here at this time.
Yeah.
Who can make it? That sort of thing.
Okay. So it's sort of quite diplomatic, not very dictatorial as such.
Yeah, no, we all, we can all throw ideas and listen to each other, and everyone. We value everyone's input.
Nice. Okay. Do you, when you're not in, event mode, are you sort of getting together and like having like bad movie night or shit like that?
We'll quite often get together and just catch up and drinks night and research stupid shit and just be mates sort of thing.
Okay.
But we're always trying, like, as at the moment we're doing Halloween kids events, but we want to try and also grow it into doing adult scare events as well. Let's
talk about the kids event, because that's obviously one of the reasons you're here. Is you have a very, very cool event.
A Hearty Halloween.
Let's have a look at this. Let's bust this bad boy out. I'll hold this up so you can sort of talk about it. So, Hearty Halloween. What number is this?
So this is our second event for the Hearty Halloween.
And I'm gonna be. I did this during the event as well. Plunge. 5th of November, 2022. 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Kid-friendly hours, right?
Yep.
Held at Kensington Stadium. Treats, games, maze, prizes, and more. Tickets per $10 per trick-or-treater. Now, we were talking about this before, right? There's been a little bit of confusion, right?
Yeah.
So if you're a parent and you're going to come and let your kids go bonkers, but you're not going to be involved, it's just like per child, right?
Yep, it's just the kids.
But if you're going to partake in the trick-or-treating as well, that's $10 for you. So essentially, it's a $10 ticket per trick-or-treat human.
Yep. So pretty much if you want to go around the houses and collect the treats on the day, it's $10. But if you just, if you're a parent and you just want to chill out, have a cup of coffee and something to eat.
Let other people look after the terrors for a while.
Yep, that's the one. Then, parents get them free.
Now this is really cool because there's actually this isn't just an event for you guys to make money. You're actually doing this for a really good cause, eh?
Yes. Kind Hands.
Now again, as we were talking before, no clue what Kind Hands is, and I'm sure there's a lot of people, a lot of listeners and viewers out there that don't know what Kind Hands is. So maybe you'd like to sort of explain to everyone what Kind Hands is.
So Kind Hands is a facility for respite care for kids under the age of 6, mainly.
Right. Wow.
Yeah. So that could be kids that need to be fed through feeding tubes, that have had brain injuries or cancers or stuff like that. So they've got somewhere to go that isn't so hustle and bustle of a normal daycare.
Yep.
So the lady who runs it is a qualified nurse, but has also went out and got her teacher's degree.
And is a certified teacher,
Yes.
so she's got both.
Yeah. So they bring the kids, the kids go there, get treated like any other kid, but and they bring them up, and then they try and help them transition into normal schooling afterwards as well.
So it's an opportunity for a kid that's going through something quite serious to actually be a kid.
Yep, exactly.
And not have to deal with the stress and the pressure of what they've got going on in their normal lives.
Yep, exactly.
Okay. And until I'd heard about that, I wouldn't have had a clue. And that's absolutely amazing. I used to my goddaughter had acute lymphoblastic leukemia when she was really young, so she spent nearly a year at Ronald McDonald House. So I'm guessing this is kind of like a smaller version of that, where kids that are going through something unfortunate can kind of all be together.
Yeah, that's it.
That's man, if ever there's a really good cause, that's definitely it. So if you're a listener or a viewer of the podcast, you can find tickets where?
So you can find the link on our Facebook site.
Yep. So Northland
Horror.
Go to Facebook, search Northland Horror. The link's in there.
Yep.
Or where else can they go?
Or eventbrite.com. That's the site that we're using for ticket sales.
That's the ticketing site. And then there's a search option for
a hearty Halloween.
A hearty Halloween.
Yep.
Cool. What are some of the things that kids can expect when they go, or even if parents go and they participate?
All right, so we're going to have a maze will be a good attraction that kids and the parents can walk through. There'll be a few scary characters, a few normal characters. There'll be props and that sort of thing. We're going to have a big bouncy castle. We're going to have food vendors.
Yeah.
And we have, can't remember if it's 10 or 11 trick-or-treat houses. And each house is differently themed with recognisable homes, I suppose.
Okay.
Yeah. That kids will know.
Right, okay, so when you say homes, I'm like, are we going to see and this is themed like Freddy Krueger's house?
I wish.
Oh, that would be awesome.
No, so we're going to have houses like Frozen.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Shrek Swamp.
Yeah.
Peter Pan's Treehouse.
Yeah.
Those sorts of things.
That's very cool. Now that's inside the stadium, right?
Yep, it's all inside the stadium.
Bouncy castle inside the stadium?
Bouncy castle
wow.
inside.
That's I got to make sure I got this right. So, where the big front doors are, is it the big front doors? You come in and it's to the right.
It will, yep.
It will be to the right.
Yep.
And everything will kind of be in there.
But you'll end up
You
walking up and around before you come in.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
That's cool, man. What inspired you guys to actually do this?
So we did it last year.
Yep.
And even during COVID times, we still sold out. We were limited on tickets, obviously keeping within the rules.
Yep.
And it was a big hit. We had a lot of parents say thank you for putting on an event.
Yeah.
And it was like we were blown away by the support. So we thought, right, this year we are going to do it again. But we're going to go bigger and better.
New and improved.
Yep.
Now, tickets are pretty limited. They've been selling incredibly well.
Yep.
I've been keeping up to date with your Facebook posts, and you guys have had some amazing success. You guys have had some incredible sponsors come on, donate time and money or food and just anything that they can donate.
Yep. Yeah.
And then... and I think you posted that you had a new one on there. Was it today? Or
Yep, I posted another one today.
yeah. So the outpouring of support from the community must be very gratifying.
Oh, it is. Blown away. We've gone into businesses, approached them, say, right, this is what we're doing. We're putting on a charity event for kids. Are you able to help? And pretty much most of them have got back to us and says more than happy to.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
So what can people expect from it?
So
Like you've got like in terms of prizes and games, and is there like best dressed competition awards and stuff like that? Like what can people expect?
So we're going to have spot prizes on the day. A really cool costume. It could be a pass to somewhere, or if it's a parent, they might, with an adult voucher to somewhere. We have best dressed family. So we have first, second, and third.
Okay, cool.
Kindly donated by Lone Star.
Now that's the new restaurant in that Kensington area, right?
Yes.
Very cool.
So there's some big money dinner vouchers up for grabs from there.
Yeah, because that's real. That's like quality food.
Yep.
Amazing. Cool.
Yeah, so I was definitely blown away by Angus down there.
Yeah. And he's also
a judge.
A judge. How cool is that?
Yep.
That's super cool. I remember when you told me that earlier, I was like, man, that's awesome.
Yep.
Big contribution. He gets to partake as well, because you're not going, hey, hand out. It's like, no, we want to give you an opportunity as well.
Yep. And he is also going to be a food vendor there.
Stop it. Yep. That's brilliant.
Yep.
How cool. Now, how many different food vendors are going to be there, and what sort of food ranges do we cover?
So we've got Mr. Big's Coffee.
Yes.
We have the Lions from Whangarei are also going to be there.
Oh, excellent. That's very cool. They're a great cause.
Yep. Lone Star are going to be there. We have a Real Fruits ice cream coming up from Auckland.
Not Auckland. Wow. He
was booked in for last year's event, but because of COVID, he couldn't get up.
Couldn't travel because of the border restrictions.
Yep.
Wow.
So when I approached him to pretty much refund his fee, he says hold on to it for next year.
Oh, that's amazing.
So
super cool.
Yeah.
What was his name?
Real Fruits Ice Cream.
Real Fruits Ice Cream. Big shout out to Real Fruits Ice Cream. That's very cool. And who else have we got turning up? I know I'm really putting you on the spot here.
You are.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, how about we do this? I'm going to throw to the wide, and I'm going to break this. If you are a vendor, food vendor, right? And you want to be involved in a Hardy Halloween to get behind an amazing cause, reach out to Northland Horror via their Facebook page. You'll be connected with Aaron. And look, it's such a good cause. We're so stoked to actually have you in so we can help promote this, because I'm always behind these sorts of things. And if you're interested in going, tickets are selling really fast. I've been really impressed with like the steady increase in sales. Now you've nearly hit your magic cut-off number, which is how many tickets?
So 300 is our magic cut off.
And you're pretty damn close to it, aren't you?
We are very close.
Very close. Now, what happens if 300 hits? Is it just like sucks for the rest of you? What's going to be the next?
We'll have to see how we go, because obviously we're limited on the amount of treats that we can get for the houses.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see how we can get on.
Yeah.
And if we can release more, we will do our best to.
Oh, there we go. You guys heard that first. I think that's something really, really cool. Is if you're super interested, grab your tickets as quick as you possibly can. Right,
Yeah.
just get in there. You don't want to be that family that's like, I'll leave it till the last minute, and then you miss out, because there's nothing worse than disappointed kids, and no one wants that.
No.
So that's really cool, man. I don't really know where else to go from there, because I mean that's such a great idea, and for such a good cause as well. Editor Andrew, how about Northland Artists Conversation donate some tickets? What do you reckon? We should do that. I'm getting a thumbs up. So right here, right now, Northland Artists Conversation are going to be purchasing 10 tickets for you to give away to whoever you want. Now, the only thing is you can only give them away when the podcast comes out, so that way people can have the opportunity to grab them. We'll let you know when the podcast is due to drop, so that way you can just start letting people know as well. But we want to support that. We think it's a great idea.
Thank you very much. That is awesome.
Yeah, it's very cool. Great cause, and it's what we're all about. So, Mr. Aaron Kerr from Northland Horror and Phoenix Aluminium Doors and Windows, but mainly Northland Horror, true giant in the horror community throughout Northland. Thank you so much for coming in and sitting down with us. I really, really do appreciate it. This has been amazing.
Oh, thank you. It's great being here.
It's very cool.
It's awesome.
All right, cheers.
Thank you.
Well, look, everyone, hopefully you've made it through to the end of the podcast, and you've heard some of these incredible scary stories with Aaron Kerr. Man, the story is talking about his time when he was working in the old Dunedin prison was just terrifying, just absolutely terrifying. But you look at that on the flip side of that, what an amazing thing he is doing with Northland Horror. A hearty Halloween event, doing something for was it Kind Hands? Shit, sorry. I'm diving down to grab my paperwork because I want to make sure I get this right, because this for me is really, really important. So it is called Hearty Halloween. It'll be at Kensington Stadium. Andrew?
It is Kind Hands.
It is Kind Hands. Thank you. Kind Hands. Absolutely amazing. Who knew that there was something like this in Whangarei? I know I didn't. So, such a great organisation for him to be fundraising for. They've got a benchmark they want to hit. They've got a ton of support from a lot of amazing businesses throughout the community, and they need your support as well, whether or not you're interested in purchasing a ticket and going, or if you want to donate your services and time, get in touch with them through Facebook. Just search Northland Horror, and there's contact details on there as well. Any help they can get, I know, is appreciated. We're going to be releasing this podcast, I think it's the 27th of October will be the release dates. That's today when the podcast comes out. It's a great opportunity. I think there'll be 9 or 10 days before the actual event happens. So make sure you mark it in your calendar, get excited, get amongst it, because things like this don't happen that often. And it's a really cool event. It's second year running, and something worthwhile, something hearty, which is funny because it's called a Hearty Halloween. Also, editor Andrew says hearty a lot. Now, how can you guys find out more about Northland Artists Conversation? Well, here we go. For video and the visuals in general, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, all at Northland Artists Conversation. It'll be somewhere in between my fingers. For audio, if you're someone that likes to listen to your podcasts, or you listen to your podcasts while driving, I know I do, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts at whoosh, Northland Artists Conversation. And if you have been with us for a while, thank you for sticking around. And if you're new, welcome. Feel free to check out some of our previous episodes. We've had a lot of diverse and really amazing guests. But if you'd like to give a little bit more to the podcast, we have a Patreon account. Now, Patreon is a way to give a little bit more through donations, and we have 2 tiers. First one we have is a cup of coffee, and that's $5 a month. And, it's super cheap, really affordable, and it does help us grow. Second tier we have is what I have affectionately called Coffee Addict, and that's $20 a month. Gives you a couple of extra perks that you don't get with the normal tiers. So one of them being a shout out, and I think that's really important. So we at Northland Artists Conversation have had our first official patron. I would like to send an incredibly huge and warm shout out to Lauren Roach for being the very, very first Patreon donor. So, Lauren, thank you very much. I always appreciate it. Absolutely incredible and such a nice thing for you to do. So, again, if you are interested, you can find that ability to donate at www.patreon.com/Northland Artists Conversation, or simply go to Google, type in Patreon, that's Patreon, and once you're there, top right-hand corner, just search Northland Artists Conversation. We're the only one. Have a look through it, and set something up. We'd love to be able to do this on a more regular and consistent basis as well, and really keep growing. We want to be the little podcast that could. We've started strong. We're moving forward. Everything's been great. Huge shout out to the entire team again, because everything they do just makes this thing flow and hum, and it's absolutely amazing. What else is coming up? We're not too far away from Halloween, so that'll be pretty cool. We've obviously had Guy Fawkes. Guy Fawkes is the 5th of November, so that'll be coming up as well. So that's also super cool. And then Christmas rolls around. Yay! Not that I'm not a Christmas person, but man, it's just come up so quick this year, just like out of nowhere. I can't believe it. Thankfully, the one bonus though is that we've got longer days of sunshine. Love it. One of the things I love about living in Northland is beautiful sunshine, access to great quality beaches. So get out, get amongst it. If you're driving to somewhere to go spend a day, nothing better than a really good podcast on your drive. Without further ado, and on that amazing segue, straight down the camera, my name is Mark Kelly, and that chair is normally my co-host, Andrew McKenzie. But Northland Artists Conversation, thank you very much for coming along. We will see you guys real soon.